Hi everybody, welcome to the show. Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. My name is Amanda. I'm the mom behind Raising A to Z, and today we're doing a little bit of a term update, and we're going to talk a little bit about how COVID-19 and this whole pandemic has turned us into unschoolers right now. So we like to do terms with our kids. We just find it helps us keep things kind of organized and a little bit shorter, having shorter blocks that we can kind of like have points to reassess. So we do 3 terms a year with our kids in their homeschooling. We do, the first term is from September to the end of December. Then we do from January until May. And then we do from the beginning of May until September again, because we do homeschooling throughout the summer. So in January, we jumped right back in after Stefan went back to school from Christmas break. And so we were doing our workbooks 2 to 3 times a week, which is kind of our standard, which we normally did. We did a really cool author study. So we studied the works of Barbara Reid. She's a Canadian author, and we got as many books as we could find from the library. We read tons of them, all of them basically. And we also, because she's known as an illustrator, we actually learned about her art style and how she does different her plasticine arts and takes the pictures and makes pictures with Play-Doh and plasticine, made our own Play-Doh. We did a whole thing. It was great. The kids loved it. And we were also doing all of our weekly social events. So we go to a French preschool once a week to work on our French. We go to a play group. We were doing our monthly science center trips. So for the first half of our term, everything was going according to plan. It was going according to our schedule and our routine. And then COVID-19 happened. And all of a sudden, we were just doing things differently. It was kind of like a switch went off with us. Obviously all of our social things were canceled. There's no play group, the schools are closed. There's, the science center's closed, like everything's closed. We can't go to the library, like everything's locked down where we are. So all of our social outings have changed and have been closed. And now we have Stefan working from home. So he is teaching high school from home. And that is just a whole beast in itself. You can see why we don't like e-learning and distance learning in one of our other videos, which we posted last week. We'll put the link here for you to watch. But he's home, and so then there's this adjustment of not just having him home, which he is home at different points during our year, right, for longer periods of time, but having him home and now having to work from home and having to figure out how to do Zoom meetings and attendances and take phone calls while also having me and the girls in the house living our lives and him having to be professional at the same time. It's just kind of really thrown our whole balance and our whole routine off. It's just the reality of it. And through all of this COVID-19 thing, we've kind of become unschoolers, and that's okay. I think the great thing about homeschooling is we get to adjust our expectations, we get to adjust our approaches, and we get to adjust what we're doing and how we're doing it when we want to. When we want to change things up, we can do that. When we need to change things, we can do that. And this is just a situation where it kind of came up naturally that this time during this COVID-19 pandemic, we are moving away from our workbooks and doing a lot more unschooling and learning just through life with our kids. A couple things that we have been doing recently. Number one, we've been spending a lot more time outside. The snow is almost all melted here in Northern Ontario, and the weather is starting to warm up. We have some cold and rainy days still, but we, for the most part, have been having more warm weather. So we've been outside a lot more, doing things like biking, going for walks 2 or 3 times a day, going into the woods. And our kids have really taken up collecting. They like to go out and collect different things. So some days, Alexi's been really into collecting pine cones, and we have a huge pine cone collection by our doorway. Zoe's been into collecting rocks, likes to fill her coat pockets with rocks. Last week they wanted to collect yard trimmings from the neighbor's yard. That was a real big mess, but we let them do it because it was fun. So we've been doing a lot more outside time and kind of just exploring nature. And I think that's just really cool for us. And we've been doing a lot of phys ed, and that's that's what we've been doing, spending a lot of time outside and enjoying nature and the nice weather. We've also been enjoying things like bubbles, sidewalk chalk, and the play equipment that we have in our backyard, things like our sandbox and the girls' play structures. They've really been enjoying playing with those. So we just kind of been enjoying the outdoors. It's really been helping us, and I think it's been good for our mental health that we aren't actually stuck in a house right now. We have been doing lots of read alouds lately. We had started reading small chapter books with Alexi back in September, but since COVID-19 started, we decided that we would try reading a little bit of a longer book with less pictures with both Alexi and Zoe at bedtime, which is what normally when we would read a picture book just before bed. And so we've actually been enjoying that. We read Roald Dahl's Fantastic Mr. Fox. They loved that. And we just jumped into his Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And so that's just been kind of something that we've really been enjoying. We've also been enjoying just picking up books and reading them whenever. So we've been doing lots of reading. I've been reading, they've been reading, everyone's been reading, and they've just been loving it, loving the extra time reading. Art. Oh, we have been doing so much art. Alexi and Zoe have just taken to art so much in the last couple of weeks because it seems like if it's not beautiful and warm and sunny outside, it is like freezing and pouring rain. There's like no middle ground for us. So we haven't been outside, we have been inside. And when we're inside, they have just taken to doing art projects like crazy. We've been doing so much painting. We painted with watercolors. We painted the windows with some water-based tempera type paints. They love that. Alexi is asking me when can she do it again, which means I now need to wash my windows so she has a new canvas. The kids have been doing, particularly Alexi, has been really into beading. By beading, I mean like making necklaces and bracelets. And so that has just been a lot of fun watching them explore beads, but also all the math concepts that come with making necklaces. So sometimes it's a lot of sorting by attribute, making sure the beads are the same size or they have the same kind of theme or they're the same color. There's lots of measurement that goes into making bead necklaces and bracelets. And then patterns. Alexi's been like just crazy about making patterns and beads. They're very colorful necklaces, but she is loving it, and she likes to wear like 15 at a time, kind of Mr. T style. So that has been a really big part of our day, and it's been a lot of fun. Also, Alexi's really been into drawing and illustrating. So she has been illustrating some of her own books. So basically she makes a whole series of pictures that go together, and then we staple them together, and then she tells me what the story is, and I dictate it for her because she can't obviously write a whole book yet. She's only almost 5. She can't write the whole book, so I will dictate it for her. And it's good. About 90% of it is a very coherent story. And then usually the last page is off in left field. But it's the start of understanding how plots and characters work. And she's loved illustrating them and drawing the pictures, and then us figuring out how they all work together to make a really cool story. And since Alexi has been really into illustrating, we've actually Zoomed Stefan's dad, who's an artist and a former art teacher, and he's been giving her little lessons. So just the other day she had a pen and ink lesson on how to draw pictures with a pen and ink, so there's no colors, just black and white, and the different styles of texture that you would do, and the different hatching and dippling and all those kind of things. And so she was doing that, and she thought that was really great, and that's kind of the cool things that we've been doing. So we've been doing a lot of these just kind of artistic endeavors, and it's been a lot of fun. We have also been doing a lot of imaginative play. So at Easter, the girls both got a dress-up costume. Alexi got a Frozen Elsa costume, and Zoe got a Anna costume from Frozen 2. They have worn them pretty much non-stop, and if they aren't in that costume, they are in one of our other costumes. And so over the last couple of weeks, we've actually been working to figure out how they can explore their creative, dress-up, imaginative side a little bit more. And we even went as far as converting one of our closets upstairs into kind of a really cool little costume closet. And it's almost like a little walk-in dressing room now. So it's all organized, and they can see all of their costumes. And they're just loving putting those on and making stories. And Alexi likes to get out her camera and make a little movie with it. And so that's just kind of what we've been doing, is lots of imaginative play and costumes and dress up and figuring out different characters, and that's been a lot of fun for our kids. And lastly, we've been doing lots of baking and cooking and making smoothies. So we do a lot of baking and cooking anyway. It's kind of always been part of our life curriculum, and with Alexi's eczema and her very strict food sensitivities, we do have to do a lot of baking for her. But we've kind of been exploring that a little bit more and making recipes not just for Alexi but also for the rest of our family that are not necessarily Alexi friendly, but just enjoying baking and the process and all the different steps that go into baking. And smoothies have become kind of almost a daily occurrence in our house, and figuring out what we're going to put in and blend together and what's healthy and how to build a healthy smoothie. So that's kind of one of the things that we've been doing a lot of, is actually making food and drinking smoothies. COVID has obviously changed our whole approach. Right now we are almost exclusively pretty much unschooling, and I think that would surprise a lot of people, that you would expect two teachers to still really be sitting here following our workbooks, following our schedule, and we're not. We've kind of really let things go and just letting them fall where they may. And the unschooling approach has really been helpful to us. It's actually been really good for us and our family, and we're loving it. Does that mean we're going to continue as unschoolers forever? Probably not. We will probably come back to our workbooks at a later time, but that's okay. Like, the great thing about homeschooling is we get to decide how our kids are going to learn, when they're going to learn, and the best approach that's working for us at that time. So, we might be unschooling till September. We might unschool for another 2 weeks and then go back to our workbooks. We may unschool for the next 4 years. Like, it is up to us and what is working for our family. And so I think that's just a great thing to remember, is that there is no one right approach to homeschooling, and it's okay to change your approach when it's not working or when it just needs to be adjusted. So that's what we're doing. COVID-19 has kind of turned us into unschoolers, and we are not only okay with it, we're loving it. Before I go, I want to let you guys know that we have a bonus video coming out this Friday. We're doing a little collab video, and we're going to be talking with some awesome people about homeschooling and some awesome ideas you can do with your kids while you are in quarantine or lockdown that are fun, unschooling, homeschooling type activities, using a lot of stuff that you have around the home. So you will want to check that out. It is a bonus video coming out this Friday. And if you like that video and this video and any of our other videos, please make sure to subscribe, click the bell so you get notifications, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We answer DMs, leave us a comment, and we will always get back to you. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.